Season 1 of The Bear is a perfect season of television. It never takes its eye off the ball, it never says more than it needs to say, and as a show with so much bombast and so much intensity, it needs that restraint. Unfortunately, that restraint is not as present in the show's still very good Season 2. It's not like the show has completely lost its magic, but this season features plenty of moments that just wouldn't have made it into Season 1. Early scenes with Carmi's sister Sugar feel particularly out of place, including a laughably contrived phone call with a plumber and a possibly even more contrived falling wall. And those moments, which would be at home in a lesser show, stuck out as a reminder of how good Season 1 was at dodging the obvious. One of the great parts of the first season of The Bear was that it felt like a tragedy, where everything that goes wrong seems to be inevitable. That inevitability, that organic aspect, needs to exist, or the show would easily find itself on the wrong side of farce. In contrast, Season 2 feels more staged, less confident, more funny haha as opposed to funny heart punch. Of course, second seasons are notoriously difficult to pull off, and this particular Season 2 needed to break the structure of the show so it could set up a life outside of the kitchen and survive as an ongoing series. And yet, it was never the small blunders that came with expanding the show that frustrated me. Instead, it was the moments of dialogue that felt overstated and the scenes that felt too pat, as if the writers trusted the audience less than they had the first time around. This lack of restraint was also reflected in the nonstop parade of often distracting guest stars. There are certain actors who immediately feel part of the world. Will Poulter felt like a particularly great pick, and others who distract the entire time they're there. Instead of serving up interesting actors in thoughtful roles, many of these cameos seem to telegraph solely the fact that the first season was a major success, and that subsequently, anyone with a pulse wanted to get involved. Lest I sound like I didn't like the season, I did, it's still very good. There's a wonderful moment towards the end of the season that does show that restraint that stood out so much when the show first debuted. The moment features Carmi handing Sydney a gift. Instead of getting bogged down in an awkwardly sentimental scene, Carmi is then called away by someone, and we get to see Sydney's reaction to the gift on her own. No explanation needed. These are the moments when The Bear really soars, and I hope the show, as it continues in its success and its third season, doesn't lose sight of that.